Thanks for tuning in to Barbershop Sports Talk.
So Carson Palmer, speaking of Carson Palmer, he made news when he kind of broke the sports landscape on Dan Patrick's show when he said that Mike Tomlin could be a wild card for the USC Trojans job. Do you have any stock in that, Ben?
Zero. There's no reason for him to want to leave his current job. When you're the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you basically know you have job security as long as you want to be a coach. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I think, have had something like three coaches in the last 30 or 40 years.
Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, Mike Tomlin.
And when you look, too, at Mike Tomlin's career, Mike Tomlin is another one of these guys that probably doesn't get the respect he deserves for what he's accomplished. I don't think he's ever had a losing season since he's been in the NFL as a head coach.
He has not.
He's been around a long time, Daryl.
He has not. He's been around since about a decade, and he's not had a losing season.
And he's got a Super Bowl ring.
No, you're right. I think the interesting thing, here's what I will say, Ben. Let me pose it to you this way. I think a lot of the times, college might be a better job than the pros, because let me lay this out for you, Ben. You get paid more money. So, this is also what you're going to get. I think the job security in college, if you win, can be a lot better. Like if Mike Tomlin wins at USC, they're never going to fire him, Ben. Where in Pittsburgh, as much as we can say he does have some job security there, there's always been talk about, is Mike Tomlin going to leave? Could they make a switch? There has been murmurs about that every once in a while. If you win in college, especially at a program like USC, he will never be able to get fired. Freaking Joe Paterno, it took literally the most awful thing in the world to happen with the old Jerry Sandusky thing for them to finally say, Joe Paterno, you have to leave. Literally, there was one time I heard a story that the 80s, they tried to go in Joe Paterno's house because he was 80-something years old coaching. He told the athletic director to get out of his house and that he was still going to coach. That's what you can do when you're the head man on campus as a head football coach. So I think the security's better. The money's better. You are working with a different type of player, a different type of athlete. I don't know if that's appealing to Mike Tomlin, working with kids as opposed to grown men, and having to recruit and having to pamper a little bit. That is stuff that he'd have to do. But the weather's nicer in California as opposed to Pittsburgh too. I mean, there is that as well, if he's into that. And I think it is a nice change of pace, so I wouldn't completely dismiss it, Ben.
Well, just the way he acted at the interview, I almost felt like it would be a demotion for him. And when I look at his track record, Daryl, we know one of the areas that Mike Tomlin struggled with traditionally is with some of these athletes that are less mature. The Antonio Browns of the world, the Le'Veon Bells of the world, guys that have a lot of talent, but they're not as mature. And I think that going to college when you're not able to rein in younger players and help them mature is probably not a great fit for Mike Tomlin. I would stick with coaching adults if I was him.
Now, let me tell you this. I know his press conference, you're going to go back to that. There's a man named Nick Saban, who's many call the GOAT of college football. Nick Saban was at Miami. You know what Nick Saban kept saying? I will not be the coach at Alabama. I will not be the coach at Alabama. Why do you keep asking me this? I will not be the coach of Alabama. Now, Ben, how many championships are we in now? How many years later at Alabama?
Oh, he's at least won, 6 or 7?
Yeah, and there was a time where he said at least 20 different times, I will not be the coach of Alabama. By the way, somebody should ask Nick about that, if he lied or not. That'd be very interesting to see Nick's response. But I don't always think we should take what these guys say too seriously. It's what's he going to say? I'd be interested in the job. He can't say that.
He's not interested in the job, though. I mean, the difference between him and Saban is Nick was struggling to coach in the NFL. Mike Tomlin's not. If Pittsburgh ever did move off of him, there'd be a ton of teams in line to pick him up.
But college is a team.
He doesn't want to coach college.
And also, let me give you this one more thing. Ben Roethlisberger, as he gets older, you're going to need a quarterback. Big Ben's gone. Big Ben, I don't think Dwayne Haskins is necessarily the answer. I don't think Mason Rudolph is the answer. So, I mean, there's also that to think about.